Welcome everybody to another edition of Down and Dirty with the Badger State Tractor Pullers. I'm John Stranley with my co-host Greg Elsing and Ryan Zolik. We'd like to welcome the Baum Machine Gang with us here tonight, Roger, Chuck, and Waylon. And we'd like to thank our sponsors, Front Street Toys, Casper Egg, Salama Enterprises, Trip Downing, and Wettenkamp Transport. So welcome, Roger, Chuck, and Waylon.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
How you doing, guys? Thanks
Good.
for coming on.
You bet.
So, we're going to talk a little bit about what you guys got going on up there with the blocks you're making and cranks. And is that all you're making, or what else you got going on up there, Roger?
Well, that's kind of most of what we have. Yeah, it's we did get into the few of the rods, but mostly the cranks and the blocks are really started with the Ford stuff. I got some cat stuff going through, C15 cat blocks and cranks. And now we're in the Alice Chalmers too. We got Chuck's prototype or got on the CAD and been sending out some quotes out to some of these Alice Chalmers guys with some blocks and cranks for those as well.
Okay.
So,
What block are you making for the Alice? The D21 block or the?
correct. The 426 would have been the
426 block. Yeah.
Yeah.
First heard of that. That's cool.
Bought out into the 640 cubic inch for Silver Farms.
Yep. That'll be good. What are we looking at there, Roger, or whoever wants to answer that?
Oh, the picture.
That's going to be our C15 cat billet block.
Speed machine.
Yeah, on a bridge mill.
Yeah.
Is that for like Ryan DeBro or something?
Yep.
Yeah.
He's got that one now. Yep.
Okay.
Well, he's
Perfect.
got one, right?
Is he still running electronic injection then with that, or he kind of got that figured out, didn't he?
Yes, it is a variation of electronic, but
Okay.
yeah, four valve motor. Yeah.
Yep, that'd be pretty cool.
Does he have
So
one of your blocks ready, or is this going to be one of the first ones for him?
That'll be his first one. That's a first billet block for him. Yep.
That's a nice piece.
It does look. How heavy is that?
It was about 1,100 pounds.
Holy smokes! But
Yeah.
it's semi or 20,000 pounds. Nobody cares, right?
Well, you would think, but he's kind of sensitive to front end weight on that truck.
Really?
Yeah, he's got like fiberglass leaf springs in there and stuff like that. Aluminum front axle. But compared to his block, taking the stock block and adding plates, girdle and deck plate, and it's the total package set up the same way. It's less than 200-pound difference. So,
Oh, really?
yeah, yep. So, and he's getting a lot more block. I mean, there's the wall thickness differences it really doesn't compare. Plus, the main bearing caps are cross bolted along with the vertical bolts. So, it's tied in. Those main bearings are tied in real tight to the block. So there's
Really?
bottom end is pretty bulletproof.
Are you making him then a billet crank to go in there too? Then?
Yes, yeah, we just finished. We had that in process prior to this block, but then it was for potentially a different customer, and we asked about. Well, he was inquiring about putting a new crank into this block. He didn't want to try using one of his older cranks, and so we worked that out with him. So
Okay.
the short block's assembled, I believe, right now, and he's planning on getting it to a dyno pretty soon.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he asked me to redesign his pump mounting, his oil pump mounts, and so I just worked on that the last couple of weeks, and we've got it designed for him, and we're just kind of working out details on that before we proceed with that. But we also made him an aluminum deep sump oil pan for that block.
Wow.
So is it external oil pump you're putting on it, or what?
Yeah, he has an existing external pump. It's actually in my office here, and he was just asking if I could do a better job of designing a new mount for them that kind of simplifies things, we can get to that on the computer where I can show you that what it looks like a little bit, but this is sort of a new thing. These guys have just started to build these trucks up or these engines up, and so a lot of the stuff is, kind of new to, they're not real sure what they want to change and how they change stuff, and so we can work with them on that type of stuff, no problem.
Okay, well, that's pretty cool.
We also have
heard of that. I didn't even know you were doing that.
We also have I did release the cast block, the nodular iron recast block for the CAT engine for the C15. It's at the foundry. I'm not sure if they got the molds yet. It's got to be getting pretty close to it. I think we're expecting to see that first block in either May, I think late May, something like that. And that one will be going in a truck chassis for on the road.
Okay.
Those are those logging trucks where they drag race each other uphill.
In Canada?
Yep. And so that has to have the stock cooling capabilities and all that. So we'll be making those provisions in the block to allow them to put it into an actual truck chassis and run it for more than just 20 seconds.
Right.
It needs to have full cooling capacity, and but it'll again be a much thicker block and versus the stock, and have the billet main bearing caps cross bolted and all those features.
Okay, that's cool. How many years have you been working on that, or how long have you been working on that?
Just last about less than a year, I would say.
At Louisville.
Yeah,
That was just before Louisville. Last year in Louisville,
actually when we ran into Ryan was at Louisville.
We'd already started on it before that for Brian, and then we just happened to run into him when we were at Louisville last year, and they had their truck on display, but display there, and then we started talking. Hey, you guys think you need a block? And then they opened up their eyes pretty big when you heard that we're doing this, and so he said, yeah, and then they're not that far from us. They're only 45 minutes away from here, so it's pretty handy to work back and forth with those guys.
Yep, well, that's pretty cool. That's really cool.
How many cubic inch will that be then with the billet block or the cast block for them guys?
Well, that's the P15. That's I don't want to just do it off my head, because I see quite a few different engines. So what's that? 1,000? It's close to 1,000. It's like 9 something, I think. But let me make sure.
Yeah, run a big turbo.
Yeah, it's a single turbo, and
Wow.
In Ryan's truck or that log truck?
both will be the same
Okay.
cubic inch. So yeah, that's yeah. I didn't want to just try to. It comes out to 1,034.7 cubic inch. So I didn't want to just try to quote that number without looking at my spreadsheet here. But And that's kind of part of our process is to develop initially, at least going in when customer has interest in an engine combination, I put together a little spreadsheet that has all the basic dimensions of the engine, connecting rod length, stroke, block height, piston height, deck height, and works out the rod ratio, compression ratio, after I put in enough numbers. So, yeah, it's kind of useful for trying out different combinations for but there's guys that want what they're familiar with or what they'd like to do with their, their next engine build. We can try a couple of different combinations and see how things shake out that way.
Right. So that like they'll be able to take their head they have and all that other parts maybe and just put it in this block if they want to or something, right?
Yeah. Yep. And then part of our process too is, so that's like the first step. I don't know if we want to flip the screen or not.
Yeah, I can move the. I don't know if you guys can see that okay, computer screen, or is that not really coming up too well?
I can see it.
Yeah. So then there's even horsepower calculations that just kind of predicted based on boost numbers and stuff like that. So I do one of these for every customer, and I put their information on and what they were running and maybe what we propose to work out in place of that. So so that's sort of the start of the process, and then we go to the actual building of the motor. And so like the crankshaft is the first item I usually work through. So this is a Ford crank with 5 3/4 stroke. Pretty common crank that we built. We got like 3 in process right now. And then this is our latest version Ford block. I call it the scalloped one, and it has these features in the crankcase to allow for the larger strokes that the 640 motors need. And then one of our features that we've added to a lot of our Ford blocks is access to the lifters from the side. So there's a side plate, a cover plate that goes on the side of the block. And
Slick. You don't have to
yeah.
take the head off.
Right, exactly. And then also the roller rockers are now a drop-in, so they're linked. And so this is what one of the assembled engines looks like. With the you can see our side cover here. I'll turn that off.
That's sweet.
And so you can see here's where the linked lifter is in there. You just drop those in from the side through the opening.
You guys use like a big block Chevy lifter or something that's more readily available, or make your own? Or?
We can. These are supplied by Lemke. We've done some Cam FX lifters too. We kind of like to standardize on this Lemke lifter. It seems to be working pretty good. But if someone has a preference, we can certainly accommodate that. It's a 9.984, something like that. 9.9. Yeah, 991. But so the whole combination is worked out on the computer before we release any drawings to the shop. And I'll activate the crank here.
That's amazing. How many hours in computer work you got? Just in what you...
Well,
Any idea?
it's hard to say. because I was doing this part-time.
This just
On
isn't
the
work.
sort of on the side of my my full-time job. So
Yeah.
He doesn't punch the clock or doesn't fill out work slips like that. Not like
but you can even see now that the valves are actuating. So that was the overlap right there, intake, stroke, now compression, and then power stroke. Oh, got to the end of the cycle here. I had to back it all the way up to if we wanted to start over, but it gives you an idea. I can, like on the Ford engine, the main clearance issue is between the exhaust lobe right here and the connecting rod because they're on almost the exact same center line.
Oh yeah.
Right there. And as it shakes out, for the direction that the crank is turning, because there's an idler between them, they're turning the same direction. The crank and the connecting, the camshaft and the crank are turning the same direction. And so on one stroke, the exhaust lobe will be sticking out right at the side of the connecting rod. And that's where
So Greg, I know I hate to have you make a machinist cringe, but I can see Greg saying, well, it's within a quarter inch. And these guys,
Right.
yeah.
Greg, so don't say that to the machinists.
Yeah, you're right. Everything is within a, and we're machining the blocks more accurately than what the Ford drawings call for. That was one of the fortunate things we were able to do, was obtain a set of Ford factory drawings for the block itself, and so I could work directly from that. Of course, we had samples here, and I'm back that up.
So when you're putting your, everything in there, and you're just kind of guessing, or I don't know if you're guessing or how you're getting the horsepower out of it. Like when you degree the cam different, or more overlap or less overlap in the cam. I mean, do you see that in the computer?
Well, that would not come out of just those basic calculations. It's the pressure number I use in there is just based on what some of the dyno sheets have been showing for the type of boost. So it's in the equation. It's just called brake mean effective pressure, BMEP, and so here you could see that exhaust lobe to connecting rod clearance right there.
That's pretty tight.
Yeah. And so, when you're doing those strokes in the 5 3/4 and 5 7/8 range, that's the tricky part to get past. We're also looking into, because there isn't, getting camshafts is becoming difficult, so we're working towards being able to at least provide Ford camshafts, maybe
Right.
ACs.
Right. We've been roughing them out for a guy out of Georgia that does the final grinding, but working on those too. We're having an issue finding cams. This guy's looking for a guy supplier to do the rough machining on them. He'll do the final grind.
Someone
So
finish
then
them and harden them.
Yeah, they'll harden them. They send them out to get hardened. Yep.
They don't harden the whole thing though, right? You just harden the face of where the lobe is, right?
Well, it depends. If you go to tool steel, that would be true harden. And that I'm thinking is probably a better approach anyways, but because there's always issues with 8620 and carburization processes, can only get so deep. And if guy wants to do a regrind or change the grind. You know, you might be getting close to getting into the inner core that isn't as hard. So, I think the long and the extra cost for going to tool steel is probably warranted, especially you're doing it custom anyways. So, yeah.
You guys use that block, and is that for the alcohol and diesel motors then?
Well, we did one alcohol, a light alcohol, at 504, and that's for Mark Hoopman. He asked us, he had sent his aluminum block. There was a batch of these out on the East Coast. There was 10 of these aluminum blocks that were floating around. I don't know when they were done, maybe 10 years ago or something like that. And, they're kind of getting more out, not usable anymore. And so then he approached us, asked me about, or he did talk to you, I think, maybe, yeah, about getting a replacement aluminum block. And so we looked into that, and, you know, billet aluminum, and we start pricing it out and stuff. And it looked like, you know, aluminum was going to be, just the material alone was going to be pretty high, pretty expensive. And so then, being it's a 504, and I looked into, we had measured the weight of his aluminum block. It was in the 500 range or so. And so then I thought, well, I'll take a look into what I could do as far as taking some material out of our nodular iron block, or cast block. And then I also, and the aluminum block has 4-bolt mains, but they're all vertical 4-bolt, like conventional, like small block Chev or Ford, that kind of thing, not cross bolted. And so they weren't taking advantage of the extended side skirt anyways. And so, well, I just thought, well, why don't I just replace that portion of the cast nodular iron block with aluminum bolt-on piece. And I bumped the wall thicknesses down a little bit on the crankcase, because we're going from aluminum to steel. It's nodular iron, but it's nodular iron's closer to steel than aluminum is, as far as deflection numbers. And I mean, you can match the tensile strength of aluminum easily with nodular iron. And then of course it deflects less than aluminum does. So it's going to be a more rigid block anyways. And with that combination, he had bolt-on front covers that were aluminum and stuff. So the long and short was, I was able to get within about 40 pounds of his combination, his original aluminum block, with our lightweight nodular iron block.
Wow.
So yeah, it's been running good. Well, last time I talked to him, he said he maybe has some ignition issues, but nothing related to the block or anything like that. He has gotten good runs out of the motor. And so those alcohol motors can be a little bit of a bitch to light. So you know, he was, last I talked to him, he's modifying the head to put in bigger spark plugs. Yeah, he's going to from, I think he said 10 millimeter plugs that that the heads came with, and he's bumping them up to the 14 millimeter, you know, more, you can get some more a racing type spark plug instead of something from a lawnmower. But
yeah.
Oh, that's that one motor that we have out there.
And, notoriously with boost and alcohol, if you don't
Yeah.
have hot enough that boost, and the alcohol blow the fire out.
Yeah, alcohol's tough to light. You gotta have a lot of spark.
A lot of spark like that.
Yeah.
That is amazing. I didn't know you guys were in that deep into all of this. This is just amazing.
Yeah, it's sort of taken on its own life. It's something that we just started with the crankshaft, and
Yeah.
And then it was that tractor blowing up
At
at
Shipshawana.
Shipshawana.
Yeah, it all started about 7-8 years ago when Waylon and I and the family took a trip out to Boston for just a family trip, and Waylon wanted to stop the Foresters on the way out and just to talk to Corey, and he was kind of friends on Facebook or whatever, and Corey Forrester, and then so we stopped in there just to check out the dealer. Took a little trip out of the way, 100 miles, whatever, just to check it out, and we said, well, stop, told my wife we'd drop her off at the mall, and we'll be back in a half, or pick them back up in a half an hour. Well, it was about 2 hours later we come back after talking and seeing all they got going on out there with all the Ford stuff. And he said, well, if you guys can make us a crank, then we could really use them. And so that's got us into this whole thing, starting with that. And then the cranks went good with them. And then a year later, it was probably 2 years there when Mark, or when they blew that tractor up at Shipshawana there, and it launched that block, and they came up to me. I was sitting in the grandstands, and they said, well, hey, can you build us a block? And I said, yeah, we can do a cranks. We should be able, no problem making a block. And a year later, they ran that block the next year, and I think he took first place or whatever, first and second, whatever. But it's been good. Been built quite a few of them now, and it's been kind of fun helping get some other color in some of these classes that they can rely on a good block and cranks. Keep some different manufacturers out there, so different color in the classes. Kind of fun to see.
Absolutely.
It is. Well, that's really neat. What was that? The video over there that's just making a crank there a little bit ago, it looked like. How many cranks have you guys made, I guess? You think?
A dozen, 15 maybe, somewhere in there. Yeah.
For the
And
bigger
probably
blocks.
about 8 blocks, I think, 8 or 10 blocks.
Yeah.
10 blocks.
Yeah.
So you guys cutting and making your own pistons and rods as well for these?
No, we haven't. We've we're buying piston for us. Some of the last
Rock
time.
pistons. We just for this batch of 640s that are getting put together.
Right.
They're getting machined in process right now.
But the rods from Lemke, Robbie's been supplying us with these rods with the 2 nuts or 2 the bolts.
They're four bolts. Yeah,
They fit pretty nice with our cranks, and it lines up pretty good there. So, yeah.
So what's the next project you think? Billet heads you're going to get into, or?
No, I don't think so. No, no, I like to stick with the blocks. There's a lot of other guys doing heads, and connecting rods and stuff like that. Or if somebody else has got it down and make these parts, I'm not out there to try to undercut anybody, or as long as they get the part, as long as there's somebody doing it, let them do it and make, they can do better than us trying to compete. And that's not what we're out here to do. We're just trying to make stuff that somebody won't make, I guess, as it comes down to. Or if you can't get something, we'll try to get it done.
Yeah, if there are delivery issues or stuff like that, it's so. Yeah, I guess we've been hearing some stuff along that line, even on stuff that's already been. Some of the international stuff isn't readily available. Well, Cummins even.
Right. The cranks.
Yeah. Cummins 5.9s. Find out 5.9 stuff. So,
we'll see.
Yeah, it's sort of like, well, they got the need. That's kind of been Baum Machines' mantra from day one when Roger started the machine shop 37 years ago. It's filling a need. In the paper industry, and it's been what we've been supporting for a long time, and still continue to. And so this is sorted because we're enthusiasts, motorsports enthusiasts. I'm I'm more into road racing and stock car racing and stuff like that. But I also like the tractor pulls. But Roger and Waylon, these guys are definitely into tractor pulling, and so it's a sport that I like to support.
Yep. Well, that's pretty cool. Roger, you told me one time you had a choice to go in the tool and die business or milk cows. Are you going?
Yeah, I think I did the right thing. I think my wife agrees too.
You did too.
Yeah.
Yeah. We all grew up on the farm. We didn't have no pipeline. We didn't have no.
Right.
We didn't even have a silo loader. Well, that was us.
Yep. That's how I was way back when too. But you know, what's the guy down in pulled truck, and he has a tool and die business down there too. He said he had his lathe in his barn the first time. Roy Cannonberg, Ram Tool.
Oh yeah.
Roy, yep. He told me he made his first. He put his lathe in the end of the barn while he's milking cows and made his first parts while he's milking cows, and then turned into
TP. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, he made his first parts for Harley Davidson. He told me. So,
Oh yeah.
Yep. Yep. That's a good story. I love all them stories. Them are the best.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. Put those comments there again. Colin Burkholz says, as a tool and die guy, I need a cigarette after episodes like these, and I don't smoke. A big smiling face there because he's laughing. Robert Cordes said, Roger and Chuck do great work! Exclamation point on that. So.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Jim Goddard Jr. said, have you done any international blocks?
No, we haven't. And there's enough guys out selling them. I don't think we need to do that. Get into those. Maybe the cranks, but I don't think the blocks. There's enough. I think there's enough support. I think out there. In that.
Yeah, we were just talking to when we were at the last poll.
Cloverdale.
Yeah, at Cloverdale. He had blocks there, and can't remember his name offhand. But we've had conversations.
Yep. Schnichters have a block out there. Chaos, Hypermax. Robbie's had some steel international blocks, but I don't think he's making them anymore. But there's quite a few guys that make steel blocks or aftermarket blocks for the red ones.
Mm-hmm.
And John Deere for that. Too,
Correct.
Brian said, did I hear you're building Alice Chalmer block 640 cubes, and you guys had one on there?
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. We have not released a casting drawing yet, but we're working on a quote for a billet motor that would be a heavy super stock diesel, and that would be a 540 then.
Yeah.
Wow. That's sweet. That's great. That's good to see because you guys are supporting the guys, like you said, bring some different color into the organizations. And like you said, other guys are building other blocks and other stuff. It's just you're providing parts that other guys can't. And that's exactly what we need. That's
great. That'll bring other colors back into the pulling world. You get some Alice's back out there and they can compete with an Alice motor in them and a Ford. I think it's great. I love it. I think it's the best thing for the sport.
Yeah, we found with that Alice, a lot of guys are running they're running the international crank in them, so it's kind of a touchy thing. We really don't want to, proceed that way. We really want to build Alice Chalmers. We're going Alice, you're going to full Alice, not switching parts. I know they have the parts, they have the cranks, but they made them already fit in these 426 blocks, and they offset the pistons and stuff. But really sticking with that it is going to be the per OEM Alice Chalmers, and that's kind of a thing. There's a few people that have a little problem, or just wasn't ready for that, I guess. That kind of a come back, but it's trying to keep it right.
Yeah, well, we're building. If we're doing the blocks, we're going to do them to make them NTPA and Pro Pulling League legal, and so to to make it an acceptable or legal block, it needs to match the OEM dimensions, at least the major dimensions, bolt, head bolt patterns, boards, cylinder spacing, and anything that follows suit with that, cam locations, that kind of stuff. So, to do a hybrid doesn't really make a lot of sense. I mean, if you want to run an international, then run an international.
Right.
But to try to cross it over, there's just no way we would be able to get approval on that block like that from any of the organizations. So.
Well, the biggest thing everybody worries about is moving the cam in some of these. That's everybody's first worry. Oh, they moved the cam. Oh, they moved the cam. Oh, they didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, even bore spacing too. You can adjust bore spacing to help things one way or the other, and especially if you do, the international crank will drop into the Alice block. The lengths kind of work out. The two end main bearing caps come very, very close to working, and so. But the spacing, the bore spacing on the Alice block is considerably different than the international, and and so that's what you end up adjusting and moving things around. So it's just not something that we really want to pursue.
And really getting into it, it's longevity. It's really getting these engines to last. It isn't these things blowing up and that, then and there's this issue that's going to happen down the road here about more people getting hurt or whatever, or just wrecking more stuff. And
using stock blocks,
right? Anyway, this needs to, when you start to get this kind of horsepower out there, this kind of boost. Stuff's just got to. Yeah, they're doing that's more for safety or more for for longevity than the performance. It is, it's still cubic inch and it's goes on top the head and the intake and all the rest. That makes a big difference. But as far as cubic inch is what it is, what's down below, as long as it stays together, and that's what we're really trying to continue doing.
Right. You can say it's more money up front. Everybody knows that, but in the long run, you're way better off. We've all wrecked the stock blocks and just wrecked everything. You wreck right now a new crank, I believe, is $16,000 or $18,000 for a billet crank.
Oh yeah.
And your block breaks in a stock block and it wrecks that crank. Man, that really gets expensive.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So. Yeah, if you put a girdle and you put a deck plate and you put all the other thing and covers and caps and all this,
you're getting close.
Yeah, you get a lot of money, at least half of what a new block's going to be, and then you get all the time, and it's still a ticking time bomb. It can happen.
Well, it ain't even that. It's even a stock block. I know in the Limited Pro is like $6,000 or $7,000 to get it machined, to put all the stuff in it, get it bored out for the bigger stuff and everything. So you're halfway there and then you still got to buy the girdle, the deck plate, like you said, and everything else. It's crazy. One time you're done.
Right. Just like a transmission or anything else. Yep.
Do it right.
Do it right time, and you won't have to do it the second.
Oh.
Right. All right. So what else you got? Thoughts on anything else, Roger? You got some wild ideas? Anything we need to hear about?
Well, I've got ideas, but I don't know. Not really quite sure them yet. But no, we're still putting some stuff together. Yeah, it's all day by day, I guess. You never know what walks in the door here. It's no doubt. It's fun. It makes our business fun, and the guys on the floor like seeing it. It's not the same old paper mill stuff or nollie paper mill, hydro, everything else we do, but it's still kind of, they like, and especially you can see the stuff's on TV or you go to the polls and they see our blocks are out there and stuff that they've worked on, and it's pretty cool. And I said, you never know what comes in the door. We've seen a lot of different stuff and not too afraid to take on almost anything. So we keep it going. Going. We all keep it going.
Chuck just retired here. Yeah, this is actually my part-time job now. So I retired in January full-time. So, but I told Roger, well, I'll stick around. I'll just come on in every once in a while and keep the tractor engine stuff going.
Yep. Well, it's funny. It's a new challenge, right?
Yeah.
It's a challenge, I think, and to do that, and it's not the same old thing. And if it's something you like, that's always got to help. You got to, liking work is a big part of it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
what
for sure.
Yep. And I think after this show, you're going to get a lot of phone calls on them C-15s.
Oh, that'd be good.
Yeah, sounds good.
Because I didn't even know you were doing that.
Oh,
So
yeah.
we got that steel one and the recast one. I think you'll really.
Ryan DeBro probably doesn't want anybody to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose that could be.
It's getting out sooner or later.
Ryan who? Roger said,
Yeah.
Ryan who?
Right.
Oh.
Somebody had up there just a minute ago about that 7-cylinder that was in a Gleaner combine. No, I think it has to come in a tractor. It had to come in a tractor.
Yeah, the 7-cylinder. Yeah,
We've had them in here
we
before.
had a conversation about that a while back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I think it had to come in a version of a tractor.
I'm aware of.
Yep. Yep.
Cool
So, right.
part about what you guys are doing too is that, you're replicating the dimensions of a Ford block or Alice Chalmers block. And I know there's still people squabble now, even hearing them in the stands about, so-and-so has a international with a John Deere motor in it, or a blue tractor with a John Deere motor in their international motor or whatever. But it's color matching you guys are doing. And the other thing too, like the Alice Chalmers, like you said, Alice Chalmers tough back in the day in the late 60s, early 70s until things, grew. But to kind of help them guys out too, the guys that are running 640s and the Alice's, Brian Schrammich, maybe one that like be interested in, your Alice block, a few other guys out there that are running them, I'm sure they'd be knocking on the door to see where this is going to go. And if, Max Smith was still around too,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
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 That's what we, that's what we're out there for. Yeah. Like I said, that's makes it good. Makes true. Our new team name here is True Blue. True
Blue?
Engine.
Yeah.
True Blue. Yeah.
True.
You guys have some tractors you pull now, Roger. Let the fans know what you guys are running right now. You guys run some tractors there, and you travel to Florida now and then with them and around. What do you guys run?
Yeah. Well, or Waylon, you can comment on it.
Yeah, we have a few hot farm tractors that we run. Little bit different rules than what you guys have down in Badger State, but overall same kind of a tractor. And then we do a lot of farm pulling too, pace pulling. Pace pulling is pretty big in this northeastern part of Wisconsin, and takes a good tires and pretty decent horsepower, just to compete in a farm pace class. It seems like nowadays, but between the farm pullers and the hot farm tractors, we keep ourselves pretty busy. But
yeah.
But you are building a light pro or something, are you, Roger?
Yeah. It's out at Smith's out there in Pennsylvania. They've been sent them all. Pretty much got everything out there, and we're getting the engine here built here. Obviously, a new block and crank. It'll be a limit pro, the 4.1.
Okay.
Limit pro. So Smiths are putting that together out there and get a rolling chassis, then bring it back here, and we'll put the engine in it here and stuff. And so I hope it'll be out this summer. It's they got everything they need and they're putting it together. So I'm not making any promises. It's time, this time goes by quicker in the next couple months. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, that'll be, we're looking forward to that. And actually had our hot farm tractors right at my door. We did a little out there with those guys, did some facelifting on those, getting them set up a little better and do some dyno work. And so yeah, we're looking like we'll have a good summer to do some good pulling, hopefully.
That'd be really cool to get you out there. Something different in the class. Yeah, man, we'd love to have you around with that. That would be fun.
It'll be a full true blue Ford. Yeah.
Yep. What
for
sheet
sure.
metal are you putting on it?
So
It'd be like a New Holland T8030, like the Mike Wilhite hoods that are floating around.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did have an 8,000 hood already ordered for it 2 years ago, but I still haven't received it. That's gonna be an all aluminum hood. I haven't. So I had to break down and disorder this other one, and which is gonna be fine. That'll be good. Good tractor.
Yep. That'll be really cool. It'll be really cool.
That's awesome. So them guys out east, they're probably pretty excited too to see what they put together out there, and then they add the Baum machine parts to it, and then they'll be watching close to the computer and TV too to see that thing run out here in the Midwest.
Sure. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. They're light pro guys, and I was gonna do a light pro, but we got about 4 or 5 of them out there, and it's like there's not any limited pros. That's why I kind of went this direction. And limited pro seems more competition or whatever in this area in the Midwest. So that's why we kind of switched to that, and to promote that 640 block. That was something that when we came out with this bigger block that like Chuck said, with the scallop block, and that really handle that bigger cubic inches, get that one out and attracted to have some people can see that they not only the super farm but to handle the 4-1 as well. That's kind of why I did that route. Yeah.
And once you have the program built, it isn't hard to make blocks, is it? Just drop
Right.
it in and yep.
Those the first one's always takes a little further, the longest to do the first one, but after that, then it gets easier. No doubt, it still takes time, but it's and you figure out little things here and there too, so it's good.
Yeah. So like the boys are getting aluminum block. You said it was hard to get. Chris Feller, I hate to say it, he got the aluminum out of China or something. He said it was better aluminum, was cheaper. I don't know.
Yeah, like today, I don't know next month.
What's that?
I don't know.
You want to get the shipping on that right away. At least get the tag filled out today.
Yeah, and actually, from a cost standpoint, the nodular iron block is going to be stronger than aluminum, and the weight issue, I could deal with that a little bit. I mean, we could take some weight, but it at least takes some weight down. The thing with aluminum is it deflects at 3 times the rate of steel, and nodular iron isn't as rigid as steel, but it's only about 30% reduction in relative stiffness. So deflection is more of an issue in a block than the actual tensile strength. But the nodular iron is rated at 80,000 psi tensile, and aluminum is not going to do any better than that. So
no. Right.
And we get these cast down the road from us here, so we can, the cost to us is considerably less than what a piece of aluminum would be. It's not even
really
even close.
Yeah, the machining is no problem. Obviously, aluminum, the machine is really nice. There's no doubt about that. But when they're starting with a solid block, or these guys are coming, I don't know if they're coming roughed in or whatever, but
whereas the casting is already, there's a lot of surfaces that we don't have to touch. So, so the machining time is significantly less.
Okay. So, but what couple of them aftermarket blocks out there? I know one of them when I was looking in, it was 480 pounds heavier than a stock one.
Okay.
So that my worry about that is guys that are already struggling with weight for that block, they're going to start grinding out of the rear end of the tractor and maybe take some safety out of it. You know what I mean? You know what? Everybody will get in there and start hacking and grinding on everything to get. You're going to have to pick up 400 pounds probably. Right.
Well, is that, I mean, when you're talking that weight, are you talking added your girdle and the deck plates and the side plates and the front plates and all that extra weight that they throw onto a stock block? I don't think you're talking that much difference.
that motor was 480 pounds heavier than the stock when the guy took out. After it was all assembled, put all this stuff. I'm sure, I don't think he put a girdle or a deck plate on it, but that motor was 480 pounds heavier than the stock one.
Okay, the actual stock casting. Yeah. You know, I could see that all day.
Fully assembled motor. Fully assembled motor with everything on it.
But if you're taking the stock block and adding deck plates and girdles and all those parts, it's not going to be.
That was all in there.
That was in there with the stock block?
Oh, yeah. Really heavy block we look at. It's a really heavy block. It's an international block, and it's a very heavy one.
Well, our cast block, our recast block, is in the 750 pound range.
Okay, because like the Hypermax block is only 150 pounds heavy. The recast Hypermax block is only 150 pounds heavy. Stock block.
Gotcha. Yeah.
You know, but some of them out there get pretty heavy.
Yeah. I bet.
Not all of them, but some of them do. You know. Mm-hmm. So it was interesting to hear that when he said, "Yeah, I weighed my tractor before I took it on, then I put it back in the tractor. Bear tractor is 480 pounds heavier than what it was." You know.
No. Well, at least it's on the front of the tractor.
That's something to watch. That's something I watch, and why I kind of push for aluminum or something lighter, because you knew what was going to happen. If guys are going to put these steel blocks in, and you're pressed for weight, you're gonna have to take it away somewhere else, right? To keep enough weight in the front end is what I've seen over the years. That's what's happening, you know. But if your block is light like that, I think you're fine. I wish I'd heard about that before we did ours, you know. But ours will be fine. I think. I don't know. Robbie thinks it'll be all right, and we'll find out, right?
All right. Yeah.
One way to find out.
That's right.
Like doing this stuff too, using other machinists' parts, like using Robbie's rods and lifters and stuff, and you guys all working together on projects like this is just phenomenal.
Yep.
Yeah. Working with Robbie has been good. I mean, he shares his electronic data with me, and vice versa, at least to a certain amount. So, it's like Roger was saying, we generally don't do high production parts. So, someone's making lifters in volume, and that's fine. They get, as long as they're decent, same with the connecting. Right. Yeah.
There's no reason to compete there.
If someone ordered a block, how long would it till it would be done? So if someone ordered a block today, say.
A Ford block?
Yep.
Right now we're probably 7 months, 8 months.
Is that something you ever plan on doing and keeping some on the shelf, or is it just order and you make one?
I do my batches. I do them in like batches of 4. We're running 4 of them right now. There might be one that's nobody's gave me a hard number on it, but it's just kind of
hasn't been taken yet.
Hasn't been taken yet. But I think there's guys that said they're ready for one, but they just didn't. There were no hurry for it. Put it that way. But somebody would be probably. And again, we didn't. It's not finished out. We don't have a deck height on it, so we could go a different. If they want different for different compression ratios, we can change that height yet. So we got it at a stock or at a cast height, so we can change that yet per order.
Yeah, it could be a 540, it can be a 640, whatever combo they may be interested in.
Yeah, the 540s and 640 V8 Massey's are pretty popular in pulling, and in the bigger turbo classes, it was hard to make them run with the smaller turbos on, I think. And now Chris Feller's made steel V8 blocks too already. They've got 4 or 5 of them out. They made. So the one somebody was running Coons, I think, were running theirs last year with a steel block in it all year and did really well. I think it was them. I'm not sure.
Okay, yeah, we haven't gotten into V8s yet. No.
Yeah,
there was that one small block Chevy inquiry about a year ago. that I was, and we gave him some rough numbers and we haven't heard back. So
Yeah.
Quite a bit, quite an undertaking to go on, let alone, design it, but then to cast it and machine it, you almost make a run of them. Like you said, you're doing 4, make it worth your while, or, that way, where the other thing is, World Products and Dart, they're casting, small blocks and aluminum blocks yet.
yeah, this was a combination. A guy just didn't exist yet, so but it was actually a truck puller.
Oh,
And he actually wanted to move the cam up like into where it is in a big block shove and stuff. I mean, it was quite a few changes that it would have been a one-off pretty much.
oh
Yeah. Yep.
great. Yeah, that'd make a difference.
Yeah.
I got a few quotes where I was building mine about a blue motor and that one-off stuff. I said, I'll never be able to do that.
Never say never.
But that was 8 years ago, probably before Roger, you guys really started any of this. But yeah,
Yeah. Right.
longer. Oh yeah. Yep.
Right.
Well,
Your chance.
Right.
Yeah.
Missed my chance again.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
I want to thank
right
you
at
guys
the
for
end of
coming
our-
on, man. This is one of the best shows again. Everybody loves the machine shop stuff, and we love your guys' knowledge and what you're doing in there, and everybody likes to hear everybody, everybody's side of everything. I really appreciate you guys coming on and doing this, guys. So
Thank you.
We're trying to grow the sport here, and this is where it's coming from, right?
You betcha. You bet.
Yep. And we're all praying you get something done with Macville Tractor Pull. I'm not even going to talk about it, but I know we're all hoping for it.
Okay, appreciate that. Yeah, I wish I could talk more about it. I tell you, I really wish I could have had this with a really good, strong answer, but I can't. I still am. I can't. I just can't say it yet. So I'm working at it. That's all I can really say.
Yep.
And hopefully, we'll find out sooner or later because I know time is ticking every day. I think about it all the time. So.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Well,
I know
that's
that's
good
your
for us
heart
to know.
is. Your
Okay.
heart is into that tractor pull. I know that, and that's. I'm glad it's one of the best in the state. So.
Thanks.
Hopefully we can make it work. Either way, we'll make it work next year, right?
We'll sure damn try. You betcha.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So.
All right, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Thanks.
Thank you.
On.
All right. Yep.
John, you want to
Thanks for
thank the
having me.
sponsors?
Yeah, we'd like to thank Front Street Toys, Casper Egg, Slom Enterprises, Trip Downing, Wetton Camp Transport, and thank you to Baum Machine for hanging out with us tonight. Thank you, Ryan, for helping us out. So hope everybody enjoyed this here tonight. It was pretty awesome.
That was a good show. Really good show. I want to thank them guys. It means so much when them guys like that come on here and talk about that stuff to us. It really does. So
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you next Monday.
See you next Monday, everybody.